There was a reason for this, and it wasn't just to support that boulder.
It could go deeper.
It could. Yeah.
Rick Lagina didn't just announce another season of Oak Island. He revealed a roadmap that could lead the team closer than ever to the island's long-rumored treasure, potentially worth hundreds of millions of dollars. This isn't another season built on hope or random digging. It's a mission driven by years of data, advanced technology, and evidence gathered over more than a decade. After investing over $100 million and drilling more than 200 boreholes, the team believes they've finally connected the clues. Wood fragments found deep underground, unusual stone formations, powerful metal readings, and a newly identified high-density zone stretching nearly 50 feet wide all point toward one possibility. Something massive may be hidden beneath Oak Island. This season, the strategy is unlike anything they've attempted before. Deep controlled drilling, reinforced steel casing, and cutting-edge 3D underground imaging are all focused on one precise target. The operation itself could cost another $5 to $10 million, but if the evidence is correct, the discovery could rewrite Oak Island's 200-year mystery forever. But nothing on Oak Island comes easy. Flood tunnels, unstable ground, collapsing shafts, and intense water pressure have stopped countless expeditions before. One wrong move could end the search in seconds. Yet Rick Lagina believes they are closer than ever. The question is, has the team finally found the location of the legendary chamber? Or is Oak Island about to reveal an even bigger secret than anyone imagined? Before we uncover what Rick's roadmap reveals, take a second to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because we bring you the latest Oak Island discoveries, hidden mysteries, and breakthrough updates before anyone else. Now, let's dive into the evidence that could change everything. Before Season 14 even began, something about Rick Lagina felt different. For years, he had been known for his patience, determination, and willingness to keep searching despite disappointment after disappointment. But this time, there was a level of confidence in his voice that stood out immediately. Instead of relying on instinct, Rick made it clear that the team would be guided by a carefully planned roadmap built from years of evidence. That single statement changed the direction of the entire search. Over the last decade, the Oak Island team has invested more than $100 million, drilled over 200 boreholes, and collected an enormous amount of geological data. Yet every promising lead seemed to end the same way. Flooding cut off access, tunnels became unstable, or intriguing signals appeared without enough proof to confirm what was really underground. Season 14, however, was designed differently. This wasn't simply another excavation. It was a strategy based on precision. Every drilling location had been selected in advance. Every target depth had a purpose, and every stage of the operation was backed by evidence gathered over many years. Marty Lagina understood the financial risk, with the project expected to cost another $5 to $10 million. But Rick believed that discovering the right location would make every dollar worthwhile. The biggest transformation was the way decisions were being made. Guesswork had been replaced with scientific analysis. Information from muon imaging, seismic surveys, and AI-assisted data interpretation was combined into one detailed plan. Instead of chasing isolated clues, the team was following a path supported by multiple sources of evidence. That shift also changed the atmosphere among the crew. Some members were optimistic, while others remained cautious because Oak Island has built expectations before, only to disappoint at the last possible moment. Even so, Rick continued repeating the same message. They were closer than they had ever been. If his roadmap proved accurate, Season 14 could become the chapter that finally unlocks a mystery that has remained unsolved for more than 2 centuries. To understand why this moment feels so important, it's necessary to look back at where the legend began. The mystery of Oak Island stretches back more than 200 years. In 1795, a strange depression in the ground was discovered on the island. That location would later become famous as the Money Pit. At the time, nobody could have imagined that a simple discovery would spark one of history's longest-running treasure hunts. As excavation continued, unusual discoveries began to appear. Workers uncovered layers of timber buried at different depths, strange soil formations, and other signs suggesting that the underground structure might have been intentionally engineered rather than naturally formed. Those discoveries transformed simple curiosity into an enduring mystery. Generation after generation, new expeditions arrived hoping to solve the puzzle. Some reached depths of 50 feet, while others pushed beyond 100 feet. But with every attempt came even greater challenges. Floodwater rushed into the shafts, tunnels collapsed without warning, and many believed an elaborate flood tunnel system had been built to protect whatever might be hidden below. Again and again, explorers believed they were on the verge of a breakthrough, only for unexpected obstacles to stop the search. Over time, Oak Island became more than a treasure hunt. It became an obsession that consumed decades of effort and enormous financial investment. During the past 2 centuries, countless search teams have worked on the island. Millions of dollars have been spent, and some explorers even lost their lives while pursuing the mystery, adding another layer of intrigue to the legend. In recent years, Rick Lagina and his team have brought the search into a new era. Over the past decade alone, they have invested more than $100 million, drilled over 200 boreholes, and used some of the most advanced exploration technology available. Despite all of that effort, the final answer has remained just out of reach. Still, each season has produced intriguing evidence. Buried wood, metallic traces, and unusual underground formations continue to suggest that something significant exists beneath the island. Yet every promising discovery stops just short of providing undeniable proof. That has always been Oak Island's greatest mystery. It offers enough evidence to keep hope alive, but never enough to reveal the complete truth. Even today, the same question remains unanswered. Is there really a hidden treasure buried beneath the island? One fact has remained consistent throughout every expedition. The clues have never disappeared. They've simply never formed a complete picture. Over the years, investigators uncovered buried timber nearly 90 feet below the surface, stone formations that appeared intentionally placed, and repeated metallic anomalies detected in different areas. For decades, these discoveries were treated as unrelated pieces of evidence. Everything changed before season 14. When Rick and the team decided to review all of the historical records alongside the data collected during the last decade, they noticed something unexpected. Borehole reports, drilling logs, geophysical scans, and archive documents were carefully compared side by side. A remarkable pattern started to emerge. The same types of signals kept appearing at similar depths in multiple locations. Wood fragments, compact underground layers, and metallic traces repeatedly showed up between roughly 90 and 100 feet below the surface. Instead of being isolated discoveries, the evidence suggested that all of these clues might be connected, pointing toward a much larger underground structure that previous expeditions had never fully recognized. The evidence was beginning to point towards something much bigger. Instead of isolated discoveries, researchers started to believe they were looking at parts of one interconnected underground network. One engineer even remarked that if these formations were completely natural, the same pattern wouldn't keep appearing in different locations. That observation changed the team's entire perspective. Suddenly, the clues no longer looked random. They resembled pieces of a larger blueprint. It was as if an underground structure had left traces of its presence across multiple sections of the island. Some specialists proposed that these repeated signals could be the remains of ancient tunnels or chambers that had partially collapsed over time, leaving evidence scattered through different layers of soil. For Rick, this marked a turning point. He explained that, for the first time, the mission was no longer just about searching. It was about understanding. Every new discovery now fit into a growing pattern, making the mystery clearer while raising even bigger questions. If every clue was connected, it suggested that something enormous might be hidden beneath Oak Island, not a random collection of objects, but a carefully designed underground system. Season 14 isn't defined only by where the team plans to dig. The real difference lies in the technology guiding every decision. Instead of relying on instinct, Rick Lagina and his crew are using scientific data to direct the entire operation. During the early years of the project, exploration depended mainly on traditional drilling and limited underground surveys. Now, the team is combining muon imaging, seismic mapping, and AI-powered analysis into a single investigation. That combination has the potential to transform the search completely. Muon scanning is a sophisticated method that uses naturally occurring cosmic particles to measure underground density. When this technology was applied on Oak Island, it highlighted several areas roughly 100 to 150 feet below the surface where density readings were dramatically higher than the surrounding ground. Those results immediately caught everyone's attention. Such unusually dense zones could indicate either a solid man-made structure or a hidden underground chamber. At the same time, the team is using seismic mapping, which works by sending controlled vibrations into the ground and studying how the waves bounce back. Those reflections reveal the arrangement of underground layers with remarkable detail. Each survey produces an enormous amount of information, often more than 50,000 individual measurements in a single scan. Processing that volume of data used to be extremely difficult, but modern AI systems can now identify patterns, compare previous results, and highlight the locations with the greatest drilling potential. Rick summed up the difference in one simple idea. This time, the team isn't relying on guesses, they're relying on measurable evidence. By combining information from more than 200 boreholes, historical drilling records, earlier surveys, and the newest scan results, the researchers are creating the most detailed three-dimensional underground model Oak Island has ever had. Many experts point out that technology of this level is rarely used in treasure hunting because of its enormous cost, with advanced scanning systems alone reaching several $1,000,000. But if the data is accurate, the hidden chambers and underground passages that existed only as theories for decades could finally be confirmed. For years, every expedition uncovered small pieces of evidence. This time, however, the discovery appeared far more significant. During one of the latest surveys, researchers identified an unusual anomaly between approximately 130 and 150 feet below the surface. The readings were unlike anything normally expected underground. This wasn't a small, isolated signal. It covered an area nearly 40 to 50 feet across, with consistently elevated density throughout the entire zone. Initially, the team considered the possibility that it was simply a natural geological variation. But as additional scans were completed, the same anomaly appeared again and again at nearly identical depths. The repeated results gradually eliminated much of the uncertainty. Engineers carefully compared data collected on different days, from multiple directions, and using different scanning techniques. Despite those changes, the outcome remained almost identical every time. That consistency suggested the anomaly wasn't random. It appeared to represent something solid, organized, and potentially artificial. When Rick reviewed the findings, he reportedly felt that the team had finally reached the area they had been searching for throughout the entire project. Previous seasons had produced promising clues, but never such a large and consistently repeating target. Not only did the depth match earlier discoveries, but the size of the anomaly also stood out. If the feature truly represents a chamber, it could be far larger than anything previously suspected. Experts remain divided over its identity. Some believe it could be a part of an underground tunnel network, while others think it may be a concealed chamber. What makes the discovery especially compelling is its location. The anomaly sits close to older borehole sites where wood fragments and metallic traces had already been recovered. For the first time, discoveries from different years appear to be pointing toward the same underground location. Early estimates have suggested that if the anomaly ultimately proves to contain a significant gold-bearing structure, its theoretical value could reach hundreds of millions of dollars. That possibility dramatically changed the team's outlook. Instead of viewing the anomaly as another interesting signal, they began considering it as a potential entrance to the island's greatest secret. Because of that, Rick Lagina and his team have chosen a clear objective for Season 14. Their goal is to drill directly into the depths where the strongest anomalies have been detected and examine every layer with scientific precision. This isn't ordinary excavation. It's a carefully planned operation designed to minimize uncertainty. Multiple boreholes will be drilled around the target area, so the anomaly between roughly 130 and 150 feet can be investigated from several different angles. Every core sample recovered will be sent for laboratory testing, where scientists will study its composition, density, and possible metallic content. Unlike earlier expeditions, every drilling location has been selected using geological evidence rather than intuition. The project will rely on heavy-duty drilling equipment capable of reaching depths well beyond 150 feet, while maintaining stability throughout the operation. Each individual borehole represents a major investment, and with dozens of planned drilling locations, the total cost of the excavation alone is expected to reach several $1 million. Even so, Rick believes the objective is worth every effort. If the evidence is correct, this carefully planned campaign could finally answer the question that has kept Oak Island's mystery alive for more than 200 years. Rick has made one thing absolutely clear. If something extraordinary is hidden beneath Oak Island, the team is determined to reach it. But getting there isn't simply about drilling deeper. The most important evidence comes from the core samples brought back to the surface. Every time the drill penetrates another layer of earth, it retrieves pieces of the underground story. Soil composition, rock formations, buried timber, or traces of metal can all reveal what lies below. If those same unusual materials continue appearing between roughly 130 and 150 feet, it would provide stronger evidence that a man-made structure or hidden chamber could exist underground. That's why every drilling operation becomes a tense moment for the entire crew. As the drill descends, everyone's attention is fixed on what will come back up. Each additional foot represents both a new opportunity and a greater risk. No discussion about Oak Island is complete without mentioning the legendary Money Pit. Everything seems to lead back to this single location. This is where the mystery first began in 1795, and even today, many of the strongest theories continue to center around it. Rick Lagina and his team believe that although new anomalies have been discovered across the island, the ultimate answer may still lie close to the original excavation site. Looking back over 2 centuries of exploration, nearly every major clue, buried timber, unusual soil layers, and metallic traces, has been found in or around the Money Pit area. What made the original shaft so unusual was the series of wooden platforms uncovered during the earliest excavations. Reports described timber layers appearing approximately every 10 feet, continuing down to nearly 90 feet below the surface. To many researchers, that pattern suggested deliberate construction rather than a natural geological feature. Then came another mystery. As excavation reached greater depths, water suddenly rushed into the shaft with tremendous force, bringing the work to an immediate halt. Later, investigations proposed that this wasn't simply groundwater. Many researchers suggested the flooding originated from an engineered tunnel network connected to the nearby shoreline. Some studies estimate that these flood tunnels may extend several hundred feet toward the ocean, using stone-filled filtration systems to regulate the flow of seawater. If such a sophisticated system truly exists, it raises an obvious question. Why would anyone invest so much effort creating underground flood defenses unless they were protecting something valuable? Rick has often pointed to the flood tunnel theory as one of the strongest pieces of the puzzle. In his view, an elaborate protection system only makes sense if there was something beneath the island worth hiding. For that reason, Season 14 once again places major focus on the Money Pit itself. By combining historical records, modern scanning technology, and the newest drilling results, the team hopes to pinpoint the original shaft while identifying a safe path around the suspected flood tunnels. Their objective is simple in theory, but incredibly difficult in practice. Reach the target depth without triggering another flooding event. Of course, the greatest challenge remains exactly what it has always been: water, and the constant danger of collapse. The deeper excavation progresses, the less stable the surrounding ground becomes. At any moment, water pressure could overwhelm the shaft. To reduce those risks, the team is relying heavily on steel casing. These reinforced steel pipes are installed alongside the drill to stabilize the excavation and help control surrounding water pressure. Working at depths between 120 and 150 feet places enormous stress on the drilling system. Without proper reinforcement, a borehole could quickly become unstable or fill with water. Installing a complete casing system is an expensive process, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the entire stabilization setup can reach several $1 million. Rick has emphasized that the team can no longer afford unnecessary risks. Previous expeditions were repeatedly interrupted when sudden flooding forced work to stop, and in some cases, expensive drilling equipment became trapped underground. This season, every stage follows a carefully planned sequence. First, the casing is installed. Next comes controlled drilling. Finally, specialized camera probes are lowered into the shaft to provide a live view of the underground conditions before excavation continues. Even with those precautions, the danger hasn't disappeared. Hidden voids, aging tunnels, and unstable underground cavities could still collapse without warning. Because of that, engineers continuously monitor pressure readings throughout the operation. If instruments detect even the smallest change, drilling can be paused immediately.